Westmoreland then reacts by saying, because it
Can you
makes no
imagine,
sense.
RJ? Can you imagine Diddy and Cassie?
I think they were having knife fights. It's just not those kind of knives. The attorney,
Swords.
well, we don't know. Combs,
Not those
we
type of
don't want to know
swords.
either.
Fair use.
Came into Cassie's house, her apartment on the 17th floor, and held her over the edge of the balcony while screaming at her, "You know what you did, you know what you did," and that she was terrified before he allegedly threw her onto the balcony furniture and caused her serious injuries to her leg and to her head and neck. Now, we saw pictures yesterday with metadata of her leg injuries. She alleged that she took those pictures later later that same day on September 26, 2016. That's how we're able to pin in this date. But yesterday there was an extensive cross-examination which was very damaging to her credibility, and the fact that the stories seem to change and morph through time and depending on who's telling it. It would change with respect to who was there. It would change with respect to what was going on beforehand, what Donna was doing immediately before Diddy showed up, what direction she was facing. Was she facing towards the balcony door or towards the view? What parts of her body she touched. It's changed in a lot of different ways. That all came up yesterday. But the explosive testimony and cross-examination that came up today was she was questioned about Diddy and Cassie's schedule on September 20th.
Crazy. We're gonna walk through that transcript. I'm just gonna read some parts of that. What do you think about that so far?
There's a pattern of people dangling others by
All the
their
90s is sex.
by their feet over balconies, man. There's a theme there. Well, KaiR, I have a question.
Tell me.
You said that the Punisher, by the way, I only thought that Frank Castle was the Punisher, but apparently this Punisher is not a Marvel character. You said that Diddy and Cassie hired the Punisher. Is that the case? Because I thought that Diddy hired him.
Well, technically, Cassie was sometimes hiring them too,
Okay.
booking them.
Okay, booking. Okay, she's a booking.
The booking was
Okay, so
booking
well-
her own Punisher.
well, you said that we're going to read the transcript in a bit. So before I do that, remember, guys, to rate the show by pressing the like button, follow us on our socials, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for our newsletter where we will share with you links to the viral videos and articles that did not make the show.
We're gonna read the transcript, but this part of the questioning was kind of crazy. This cross kind of destroyed her whole story. And to give an idea, we're gonna of course read through it, but oh man, it's a lot of denials. Let's start with that.
So the Inner City Press, shout out to the Inner City
Shout out
Press.
to him. Yep.
He's been sharing the transcripts with us. So Westmoreland is Diddy's attorney.
The Black Queen who's protecting Diddy right now. Probably top 3 lawyers at this moment. She was also one of the lawyers in the YSL.
Okay, yeah.
But let's read it.
Oh, she's one of the YSL lawyers. The attorney asks, Cassie included the balcony incident in her lawsuit. Bongolan said true. The attorney says, Cassie said this happened at a hotel. True. Bongolan said, she didn't say it like that. Westmoreland, the attorney asks, you said your apartment, it has a balcony? Bongolan says, I didn't say it like that. Westmoreland then goes on by asking, Cassie told you she never saw you over a balcony. Bongolan answers, no ma'am, I don't remember. Westmoreland laughs. All right, right there. Read this page, then look up. You had these conversations? The answer is, I don't know.
You already see where this is going. Continue.
The attorney asks about this alleged balcony incident. You and Miss Ventura talked about the date, the place. Who was there? Bongolan says true, or at least who was there? Who was there? Bongolan says true. Westmoreland then asks, in 2015 and 16, you didn't see any signs of violence. True? Bongolan answers, I don't know the exact year. Westmoreland then asks, the birthday party, what substances were you doing? Bongolan says, I don't remember. That's probably X. Probably the X talk. She's losing
Bro,
losing her memory. That's the X talk. The attorney goes on by asking, alleged knife throwing incident. He just walked in and threw a knife? Bongolan answers, I'm not sure. Are you telling the truth?
Oh, she put in pressure. Objection.
Prosecutor yells objection. Judge sustains. Answers sustained.
Right moment, I would say, to say that, just
Yeah.
for the show.
Yeah.
Because she knows she's gonna get an objection if he asks that question.
Yeah. But KR, I think that one thing we have to take into account here, because we're gonna continue reading it. But as a witness, when you take the stand, or they call you to take the stand, you can't always say no. Let me rephrase it. It puts a lot of pressure, because when you draft a testimony, or you just go and answer the easy question when you're called up as a witness by a one-sided party, which is in this case the prosecutor, the police, then the questions are easy because they want incriminating answers so they can substantiate their claims.
Yep.
But before you take the stand, can you just imagine how much pressure that puts on you, knowing that a case might stand or fall based on your statement, based on your recollection of things or the lack thereof. So I think the pressure in itself is something that people don't take into account. And we also have to take into account that she doesn't know what questions she'll be getting. So it's difficult to prepare. It puts pressure, and the attorney is, of course, direct and has confidence, right? So she's prepared. She knows what questions she'll ask. You don't. So it's. I can imagine that it's terrifying.
One thing as well, and I want to add to that, a lawyer knows when you're. We're starting halfway right now because they've already answered a couple of questions, and what you see is that she's already, when she starts laughing and says right here, she's already understanding where this is going. She's already seeing like, oh, she's not gonna answer anything. She's gonna only say, I don't remember, I don't recall, I don't know. Okay, so now I'm gonna strangle you and make you look even crazier by making certain claims, like saying you're lying or asking you even harder questions, because then it's gonna put you even more in a bind.
Yeah, I think that's definitely something, and she might be laughing because of that. Cassie told you she never saw you over a balcony. No, ma'am, I don't remember. And she was laughing. I think she might have also been laughing because he said, read this page in the next line. All right, right here. Read this page, then look up. That's like that's like a litigator's way of telling you, gotcha, it's bait. So that can also be the case. But let's continue reading the transcript. Sustained, the lawyer asks, didn't you tell the government they would get in knife fights, plural? Bongolan says, I don't remember. Westmoreland
she got it.
Tells her, let me show you. Bongolan answered, yeah, I was suggesting where the knife came from. Westmoreland then reacts by saying, because it
Can you
makes no
imagine,
sense.
RJ? Can you imagine Diddy and Cassie?
I think they were having knife fights. It's just not those kind of knives. The attorney, well, we don't know. Combs,
Not those type
we
of
don't want to
swords.
know either. We don't want to know. In between those swords, there might have been some sickles as well. Combs Westmoreland says, you're saying you don't know how he got in to throw the knife, but once he left, you're saying you don't know how he got in to throw the knife, but once he's left, you're no longer worried. Bungalen answers, I don't remember how I felt. Westmoreland asks, you say at a photo shoot, Mr. Combs said, I could delete you. Bungalen answers, yes. But at first you told the government it was at a party. What does she answer? I don't know. She keeps putting pressure. Your first demand letter said Mr. Combs said I could delete you while he hung you over the balcony. Bungalen remarks by saying he did both. Capital B, capital O, capital F, both. Just not at the same time. Prosecutor, seeing how things are going, says, sidebar.
Sidebar.
Let's go. Let's discuss some things. Judge says, yes. After a long sidebar, Combs' attorney goes back and starts with the following question. You met the government January 18th, 2024. Didn't mention the I could delete you, but put it in your subsequent demand letter. Bungalen says yes. In a demand letter, I don't know when. Combs, Westmoreland tells her once more, read this.
Preparation is everything in a war.
Bungalen asks the whole thing? No, this paragraph. Judge says as much as you want. Bungalen says thanks. Okay, so after she finished reading it, Westmoreland asks her, you didn't tell the government about I could delete you, and Tyrone was there? Oh, there's a Tyrone involved.
You better call. Tyrone is the, you know who Tyrone is, RJ? You remember the producer who claimed all these crazy things in the beginning in a
Like
civil
the
lawsuit?
skinny one?
The black guy who was producer who said Cuba Gooding Jr. Do you remember that part of this whole thing where the guy sued Diddy, that he said he was trying to put Cuba was holding him too close? And
Is that the one with the picture?
yes, that's
On the boat.
That's not Tyrone. So that's not
Okay.
Tyrone. Tyrone was his lawyer.
Oh,
Tyrone-
okay.
Tyrone is his lawyer, and Tyrone has been known to put crazy stuff in it. He makes he makes stuff up in his lawsuits, or at least he makes it bigger. He adds people to lawsuits, and then people try to sanction him. His name is Tyrone. I can recall his ass name.
Bigums.
Not Bigums. Oh man, not Bigums. Let me see. Tyrone. I know his name. Wait a second. Give me a second. Bigums. Blackburn. Tyrone Blackburn. But continue.
Well, the way you just described him, I wouldn't have been surprised if you told me his name was Tyrone Busby. But okay.
Wow, he's worse than Busby.
He's worse than Busby.
He's
Yo.
worse than Busby, bro. He got a couple of they reported him to the, I think it's a committee, some
Yeah?
kind of a committee, because he was
like the
putting
ethics
something like that, ethics committee,
bar.
something like that, because he was adding people claiming all kinds of weird stuff. And after, so people would counter sue or send him a letter, tell him remove us because that person has never been to the law to my place, and he would ask him, okay, I'm gonna remove them as long as you don't report me to the committee. He removes them off the lawsuit, and then they report him still to the committee. It's crazy, RJ. I don't know why these people, I don't know, but